Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Venu X Code. This is Venu. And in the last video, we have discussed about what is FastAPI and how to make a first call with the FastAPI in Python. And today we are going to discuss about what are path parameters and query parameters and how will you actually route things up and test in the Swagger UI. So without a further ado, let's get into the course. And if you're new here, this is Venu, and if you want to follow the FastAPI course, please do subscribe the channel and hit that bell icon there so you don't get to miss out videos that I post. And let's get into the video. So to discuss what a path parameter is, first you need to know what a parameter is. A parameter is nothing but when we call out a function, you pass something here. For example, if I say def add and I'll say num1 comma num2, where you need to as return num1 plus num2. See, the parameters here are number one and number two. When we say print of add 1 comma 2, the 1 and 2 are parameters that directly point out to this num1 and num2. When I say to run this function, it will print 3. So these are parameters. And also, what are path parameters? Simple. Path parameters are nothing but it's a variable embedded directly inside the URL path. See, for example, if you say like FastAPI this thing, and I'll show this in a minute. For example, you say fastapi.com, and this feature thing. This feature is a path variable. And if you say learn, see only the learn change. It's a variable. Reference, it's a variable. This thing remains constant. The only thing changes here is this one. So this is called a path parameter or a path variable. Both are the same terms. You can use however you want. But to actually code that, let's see. Like we need to follow a certain syntax to actually get that into a live thing. So simply like every time you declare a path, you need to have the decorator on, right? So app.get, and I'll say slash. Suppose think that you are making a website for a user, and for every user you need to retrieve their own page with the user ID. So I'll say slash users slash, and I'll say user ID. Remember here, every user ID is different. So in this path, what is a variable? The user ID is a variable. So for any variable you want to embed in the path, you need to give a flower brackets to that. So the URL will know, sorry, the URL will know that it's a path variable and then assign that. Okay. And then declare a function def get user. And also you need to pass this certain user ID into the function name. So user ID. And then just return your message, return, and I'll say uh, this page is for user with user ID, and then I'll say user ID. Yeah. And now let's actually test this out. And I'll say I'll hit this command to run our FastAPI server, and it started. And I'll sorry, yeah. And now I'll hit this web here. We have mentioned users, and then what we need to specify? We need to give a user ID. For example, I'll say 7 because I like MS Sony, and for a reason I'll say user 7. See, this page is for user with user ID 7. What if we give a bigger number like 734? It handles it. What if we give a string? It also handles that. But let me ask you a question. User IDs are strings or numbers like integers. It depends upon your application. If I think like we'll only give user IDs for the numbers and strings should not be accepted, we have built-in validation for that too. Let me get into that. But before that, I want you to think this out. Like I want to show you the Swagger UI for this one, and I'll say 127 and docs here. Yeah, see this. You get this user slash user ID. When you click this down mark here, you see a field is required user ID. Just click on this try it out button, and when you enter 4 here and click on execute, it will automatically display this to you in the response bar. This page is for user with user ID 4. What you can see here will automatically be seen here. So this is how FastAPI is. See, if we type Venu here and I click on execute, it will be the same. So now let's get into that how to create validations for it. For example, I say this user ID must be only integer, and I just click on and then write int here, and the same follows here, so that it will only accept an integer format only here. And when you check the tab here, give it a quick refresh here, and click this, and let's say try it out, and I'll say 7. So let's go with 18. Where probably will feel, nah? And click on execute. It will say this page is for user ID with user ID 18. That's pretty good. Now the part is, what will it do when I give my name again here? Boom. Please correct the following validation errors and try again. For user ID, value must be an integer. See, it clearly states that you need to give an integer in order for this route to get to work. Similarly, if I do here, see, details not found. This will not give you a pretty good response. It will say details not found. But when you come into Swagger UI, it will clearly give you like what it all is working and all. So this is what is path parameter is. And next we're gonna look into this query parameter. See, query parameters are nothing but query params. In the before example, when I said number 1 and 2, those are query parameters. Query parameter, but we need to pass those query parameters into the function in order to get that route executed. For example, let's copy this only, but in a different way. I'll say get user comments. Okay, and I'll remove this user ID int, and then I'll say slash mments comments, and then I'll say user comments int. Let's check how many comments we are. This page is for user with user ID, and had user comments user comments. Okay, and now let's test this pretty quick. I'll refresh and I'll close this out, and you see this user ID user comments, and I'll say try it out. You see, we'll have two fields required. One is user ID. This user ID is coming from the code where we are mentioning it from the path variable. Okay, and then when you check this user comments, which is an integer, it is requiring from the query parameters. Okay, and if I say user ID is 2 and user comments are 100 and click on execute, see this, it will say this page is for user with user ID 2 and had 100 user comments. So this is or like these are like path parameters and query parameters, and you also got to know like how this Swagger UI and all works. And if you want to get this, I'll say 127, and there's a redoc section. Let's see how that does change, like the change it. Like redoc. See, user comments. It says user is required. User comments are required. It gives 200 for a successful response and 422 for a validation error. So this is all about the video for path parameters and the query parameters. And in the next video, let's discuss about the post mapping, like where you actually pass data from the URL so that it saves as an object there. We'll discuss about the pydantic schema and all in the next video. So please do hit that like button there and subscribe the channel. And if you have any doubts, please ping me in the comments and I'll discuss with you in the comments. So that's all today. Thank you. Bye. Signing off.